Hi Martina, so we've got your last set of essays here as part of the course. Wonderful, great job. I know you've been working really hard since you've picked up your writing again. Good work. And I just want to thank you really briefly about some of the nice things you said in your email. I can't tell you how happy it makes me that you have found the feedback and the course of helpful in your IELTS preparations. It's really great to hear that. That all the feedback and all the, advice and suggestions we've been telling you, that you have found them helpful. So I want to just thank you for acknowledging that and for letting us know. Okay, so why don't we just get straight into this? It's the essay about green energy. So let's see what you wrote. Pollution, resource depletion, and energy security comprise of some of the largest environmental challenges to any government and its citizens in the 21st century. The debate over whether green energy has more drawbacks or benefits has not been settled yet. I believe obstacles connected with this issue can be overcome. The world does not have enough resources to support a rapidly growing population, and suitable sources of energy should be promoted. This essay will discuss aspects of safety and cost effectiveness and impact on the environment. No. Okay, so let's talk about this introduction a little bit. In terms of grammar and in terms of vocabulary, it's fine. I mean, you did a nice job. But if you want my honest opinion about this, I think that you wrote a little bit too much. I think there were some things here that you could have gotten rid of. Now, let me tell you why I say that. I want to just remind you about what an introduction should contain. It should essentially have a rephrasing of the language here in the prompt, okay? In that rephrasing, it should mention what this dilemma, what the debate, what the issue at hand is, okay? And then it should answer the command, whatever the command is. Here it is, discuss both views and give your opinion. So you need to mention that you're going to discuss both views, and you also have to say what your opinion is. You did all of that, but I also feel like you kind of included a couple of things or maybe elements that you didn't really need to. Is it important? Well, no, not really, really, really important. But the fact is that there's two things that I want to tell you about your introduction. Your introduction is the first impression that the examiner gets of your writing. And so you want it to be a very strong impression. You want your introduction to be tightly woven. You want it to be tightly written, grammatically correct, lexically really advanced, lovely, nice language and so forth. And while you did have accuracy throughout, there's no question about that, I felt like you maybe just could have taken away a couple of the elements in this introduction and either just not included them at all, or you could have instead maybe had a little more time to develop some body paragraphs a little more, perhaps maybe you didn't need to at all because they look rather developed as well in terms of at least of length. So what do I mean here? I think that you just kind of, let's see, let me show you. You start talking about pollution and you start talking about resource depletion. Maybe you didn't need to get into all of this. Maybe you could have just gone straight into just a sentence starting with green energy. Okay, so for example, green energy comprises one of the most heated debates in many governments and among citizens in the 21st century. Okay, rather than getting into all of this. Okay, and then the debate, you didn't really need to, see, this is exactly it. You don't need to write this sentence. If you had said what I just said in the previous sentence, this then becomes superfluous and you can get rid of it. Okay, then just have one sentence where you say your opinion. I believe that the obstacles connected with green energy can be overcome. And then this essay will discuss the aspects of safety, cost effectiveness, etc., etc., in the paragraphs that follow, or whatever. So I felt like you had a couple of extra sentences here that if you had just kind of economized and linked some of these ideas a little better together, you would have had a shorter introduction, one that was more concise, okay? And then you could have, I'm not saying that you necessarily needed to write more in your body paragraphs, but you could have, had more time for other things, whether that's correcting, or, writing task one or what have you. Okay, I spent a lot of time talking about this. I apologize, but I hope that makes sense. Okay, if you have any questions, please really let me know about that. So I just felt like you could have left a couple of things out. Let's move on though. Although there is a case for positive aspects of using renewable sources, ensuring energy security is a more complicated task compared to the traditional way. Okay, traditional way of what? Of providing energy. All right, be a little clearer here. This is largely because there is a shifting of weather patterns due to climate change, singular climate change. The majority of green energy is based on stable weather conditions in particular places, and thus natural disasters such as catastrophic flooding or typhoons pose risk to the effectiveness of these methods. For example, recent empirical research by Cambridge University, capital U, demonstrates that tropical storms are now occurring in areas they have never been before. Careful. Are now occurring in areas where they have never been before. On the contrary, it must not be forgotten that thanks to the progress of modern technology, we are capable of providing precise predictions, and numerous material inventions, I don't know what you mean there, can help us to build strong protective systems. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that it is necessary to think thoroughly about methods used for this purpose in order to guarantee security level. Okay. I want to be honest with you. Your grammar was good. Your vocabulary was good. Again, there's really no question about that. These are all at a high level. I am a little confused here about what your central idea is here. Okay? So let's just kind of go through it, first of all. I think maybe part of the problem was that you used this sentence here in your first body paragraph, whereas we're used to seeing it in the template here. In other words, connecting one body paragraph to the other. So, I mean, it's okay, but look what you're saying here. Although there is a case for positive aspects of using renewable sources. Now, why should we assume this to be true when you haven't talked about them yet? Okay, so do you see how this kind of sentence belongs to link the first body paragraph to the second and not right here? So I wouldn't have placed it there. And this was the beginning of what for me was a little complicated. I think what you could have done instead is say something like, just a straightforward topic sentence saying that there are a variety of reasons why many people are concerned about the energy security of green energy. Okay? And that's really that simple. Now, your idea here, your central idea was that the problem is climate change, not changes. I just want to make sure I understood the flow of your ideas as well as the central idea. So then you told us that natural disasters, hold on a second, let me just look at this again. So this sentence here was a little confusing. You told us that there's a shifting weather pattern due to climate change, so it doesn't really help facilitate green energy. And then you said that natural disasters occur like catastrophic flooding or typhoons, which are problematic. So this sentence would have been okay if you had said that these typhoons or flooding occur because of climate change. You did kind of do that here, okay, but it's like we didn't understand it just from this sentence. We had to read further to understand it, okay? So I'm kind of feeling like you could have economized a little bit. Like you're writing, but the idea should have been more condensed. I don't know if that makes sense. In other words, rather than writing two separate sentences in order to understand one idea, it would have been better if you had just kind of condensed all these ideas into one sentence. How? Well, let me think about it for a second. Let me see. The majority of green energy is based on stable weather conditions, and thus natural disasters which occur as a result of climate change, such as catastrophic flooding or typhoons, can pose a risk to the effectiveness of these methods. Okay, do you see what I did? So it's a much more economical way of writing, and then you don't have to have this sentence. Now, the other problem that I found is that you kind of shifted gears midway. Then you started that, on the contrary, it must not be forgotten that, etc., etc. So now all of a sudden, even though you were talking about energy security and how it's problematic, then you were saying, oh yeah, but you know what? We can predict all this stuff now, so this is not valid. Now, shifting like this is something that can be done, but it has to be done with a great deal of finesse. First of all, on the contrary is not an appropriate linker here. Okay, on the contrary is a linking device that a lot of students like to use. Unfortunately, they misuse it because it has very, very specific instances where it can be used. It didn't really fit here. Okay, so I would have changed this to something else. Maybe like a however. Maybe. But to be totally honest with you, I really think this paragraph would have been a lot more solid if you had not included this whole section at all. I think it would have been much stronger like that. And if you had just instead talked a little bit further about energy security, because energy security is not just about the availability of energy, okay? It's also about the stability of that availability, and it's also about that energy being available at a low cost. Okay, so what you could have talked about was how the initial kind of setup in order to get this energy into our homes and factories and so forth is really, really very costly, and so that's one of the problems. Okay, so that's something you could have talked about rather than kind of shifting gears here towards the last third of your paragraph. All right, and the reason for that is because then an examiner could say, well, you know, there's not just one central idea. On the one hand, there was this positive thing about energy, and then, you know, talking about energy security, and then like, oh, hey, look how we can solve this problem. So you have to be careful with this kind of thing. All right, let's look at the next paragraph. On the other hand, there is ample evidence that the depletion of fossil fuels, such as natural gas, oil, and coal, makes us find new ways how to provide energy for our homes. Okay, there are a couple of issues here. First of all, you started off your paragraph with on the other hand, which is okay, but in order to use on the other hand, you needed to have used on the one hand here. You see, these are two linkers that absolutely must go together. So on the one hand here, and then on the other hand here. You can't just use one without the other. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, as I said to you before, I would have preferred this initial sentence here in the second paragraph instead. Okay, so for example, although there is a case for the problems of energy security involved with or surrounding green energy, on the whole, it is very beneficial to the environment and for cost effectiveness. So if you had taken this and put it here, it would have been much better. Okay, so let's see. This second part of the sentence had some awkwardness. Makes us find new ways to provide energy. Okay, not how to, new ways how to. Just new ways to would be better. or helps us find how to provide new energy for our homes. You could have done that as well. Using renewable power is the key to our future. The central reason behind this is that green energy, such as wind or sun, can be found almost everywhere. For instance, thanks to the advent of the building industry, millions of roofs, don't believe this is spelled correctly, can serve as a base for photovoltaic panels. Many families can have their own, not solar systems, you mean a different word here. Solar panels, I think is what you want. Can have their own solar panels for water heating. In doing so, they can save money and reduce costs. Consistent with this line of thinking is that by this, we can save the environment. If we build these apertures on roofs, I don't think you mean apertures here, you mean something else, of buildings and fabrics, we would save more land. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that by using green energy, we can protect our environment and save money. Okay, you didn't really tell me how this is good for the environment. I got to be honest with you. Look at this. Save money and reduce costs. Well, that's a little redundant, okay? You said save the environment, we save more land, but how does saving more land help save the environment? I feel like the whole environmental aspect of green energy has not really been expressed here. Okay, why do we want to use green energy instead of fossil fuels? Well, first of all, fossil fuels create carbon emissions. They, create this greenhouse effect. Plus, they are depletable. So at one point, we're going to run out of these things. We dig. How good is this for our earth to dig and dig and dig for these things? Okay, so there are a lot of things involved with fossil fuels, but primarily it's this idea of emissions. Okay, and you didn't really talk about that at all. I felt like the whole idea of the environment here was a little weak. Okay. So, to conclude from the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that despite some complicated aspects of using renewable sources, we should focus on green energy as its pros outweigh the cons. It is predicted that resource exhaustion, good, and climate change will become a more serious issue, and more innovations will help us to make progress in that area. All right, that was good. Okay, so Martina, do you understand some of the issues happening here? It's really all about task response as far as I'm concerned. A couple of little minor things with coherence and cohesion, but really the issues that I'm having with this are about task response and really having a tightly woven, tightly developed, and a well-developed essay. Was it a good essay? Yes, of course it was. You had a lot of really good aspects, but there were some things here that I found not as strong as I would like them to be in order for me to say with absolute full confidence, yes, you're ready, go, take your exam, tomorrow you'll be fine. Okay, there were a couple of things that I thought were a little not completely where they should be. Okay, so that's what I want you to think about a little bit. I want to take a look at your task one. I want you to know, though, it's a good essay. It is. It's very good. But there are some weak points that I would like to see overcome. Okay, let's take a look now at your task one. All right, this is the one about the barking dog. I'm a little concerned about this Sir Taylor thing. Like, has this person been knighted by the Queen and you're calling him Sir? Be careful with this. A better word to just use here would have been Mr. Taylor rather than Sir Taylor. I know we say dear sir or madam. That's true. But when we're calling somebody by name, we usually just use Mr. or Ms. or, All right, so let's check it out. Dear Mr. Taylor, I hope you are doing well and staying safe. So you have two verbs here. So you are doing, you are staying. Okay? I'm writing to discuss something with you. Your dog, Sani, maybe Sani, makes unpleasant and annoying sounds throughout the whole day and night. He continuously barks and scratches the doors, probably because he has a lack of your attention. Okay, I think there was a cleaner way to say this. He continuously barks and scratches his doors, probably because of a lack of attention. Okay, or probably because he needs more attention. I think one of those ways would have been a better, cleaner way of writing that. I understand your job is extremely time consuming as you and your colleges, I believe you mean colleagues, you needed an A here and a U, as you and your colleagues perform a crucial role by supporting our medical staff with essential materials during the pandemic situation. I really appreciate your efforts, but witnessing, all right, you changed the dog's name, Sally's loneliness breaks my heart. Having a lot of free time, I would like to offer you help. I was wondering maybe being your temporary pet sitter or dog walker could be a good idea. If you agree, I could walk your dog twice a day. This could help you to overcome these demanding times, but what is more, a proper walk can contribute to Sandy's well-being. In addition, no reward is necessary. My children need some exercise too, and they could join me and Sandy while walking. They cannot resist animals. For me, it is killing two birds with one stone. That's great. That's a nice expression. It's idiomatic. This is a friendly letter, so that's fine. Overall, I am happy we have such a friendly relationship and I would like to maintain it. Hence, this email should serve as offering a should serve as an offering. Okay. I'm trying to fix it in a way that it makes sense and is grammatically correct, but uses your expression here. So let me try it one more time. Hence, this email should serve as an offer of a friendly hand. An offer of a helping hand. But let me see if we could do it some other way where maybe it's a little less wordy. Offering a helping hand should serve as there's something about it that just feels a little awkward to me, which is why I keep trying to change it. But I'm wondering if maybe what you wrote here is less awkward than what I'm suggesting. Hence, this email should serve as a help. You can't say a helping hand offer. You see, it's a lovely expression and I'm glad you included it, but I'm having a hard time trying to kind of incorporate it in a way where it works grammatically as well. Okay, let's try another way. Hence, this email should serve as my offering a helping hand. That works as well. All right, I don't want to spend any more time on it. It's really a detail. So then you finished best regards and then it's fine. Okay, so I like this. You had a lot of nice natural language. I liked your suggestion. I thought that was lovely where you asked if you could walk the dog. So I'm pretty happy with this. I don't really have a lot of other comments other than what I already have said. This is a really, really long correction, so I apologize if I've been a little more verbose than I should have been or than I am other times. Okay, so it is your last set with us. So the question is now, what next? Well, one of the things that you could do is you could just, prepare for IELTS on your own, having received all the feedback, having finished the course, and you can just let us know how you do on your exam. However, there are other opportunities for you to continue working with us if you feel that you would like more feedback and you want to continue practicing with us. So if that's something you want to do, take a look at the essay correction package that's included in this email and sign up for them, and then we continue working together. Okay, you're writing at a good level. There's still some things that I want to see corrected and I want to see improved. So I would love to see you continuing working with us, okay? As long as that's something that you want to do as well and that you can do. So I want to wish you tons of luck. Let us know either way what you decide to do, okay? And I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon, so good luck.